Hello everybody, and welcome back to Certified Collectibles. Today we're going to take a few minutes to discuss the collectibles marketplace, more specifically the graded video game market. Now, over the past 6 to 8 months, we've been getting a ton of phone calls and emails asking us where we think this market is going. You know, if you've been participating or just watching the video game market over the past couple years, you know that the prices today are about 50 to 70% off their highs of just over a year or so ago. So a lot of people are freaking out. You know, they're asking us, do these games have any value? Are people still collecting or buying these? Should we just fire sale everything we have? Should we hang on to it? Should we buy more? So today I figured it'd be worth doing a video to explain to a lot of you guys that maybe don't know, or you're new to the industry, new to collecting video games, just what drove those prices so high to begin with, and where I personally think this market is going in the future. So to understand why the prices are what they are today as opposed to where they were just a year or so ago, you have to understand what drove those prices so high to begin with. And a key driver of that, you know, and you'll see this across any collectible. Anytime they start grading a collectible, when PCGS NGC started grading coins over 40 years ago, when CGC started grading comics about 20 years ago, anytime there's a new collectible that's being graded and brought to market, the first group of games or first group of coins or first group of comics that come to market that have just been graded typically sell for a high premium. And that's because, you know, there's FOMO, there's fear of missing out. People want to get in, they want to buy these because they don't know the populations. They don't know how many are going to be graded in this grade. They don't know how rare these items are. So instead of just waiting to see how the market kind of shakes out, they just go ahead and buy it, you know, pushes prices up because everybody's chasing this limited resource because they just, you know, these companies just started grading these items. So there's not many out there. So every time some come to market, they get absorbed really quickly. So the next batch that come, they get absorbed more quickly. The prices tick up. So pretty soon the prices just keep going up, and the supply is still limited because, like I said, this is a very new to market item. So that's what happened with WATA Games. You know, VGA was grading video games for over 10 years, but it was WATA that really brought in the marketing, and teaming up with Heritage Auctions really kicked up the marketing campaign. That's when everybody got excited about the games, and that's what brought in a lot of eyes to these games. You know, but you can see a correlation with the first video games that are sold over the past couple years. The same correlation with the coins that were sold for the first couple years of NGC and PCGS, and the first, you know, year or so of the graded comics back in CGC when they first started grading comics back in 2000. You know, when CGC first started grading those comics, when they first started grading the modern comics in 2000, which is comics that were about 96 to 2000 in that range, those books were selling for hundreds of dollars when they were grading 9.8. A lot of those books in today's market, you still buy for like under 50 bucks, 60 bucks. They've never regained those high values of when they first came to market, just because there's so many of them that were graded over time. And, you know, that is one of the factors that's driving down prices today for the WATA graded video games. People didn't know how many there were going to be. You know, those Mario games, they were selling for extraordinary amounts of money. You know, we used to trade case packs of Super Mario 2, Super Mario 3, and so we know there's a lot of those out there in factory seal condition. But, you know, this is, once again, we've been in the industry for a while, so we know this. A lot of the collectors out there that are new to this market, they don't know how many of those there are, how many are in the market, how many are going to grade high. So everybody rushed in, paid exorbitant amounts of money for these. Population reports came out, people are becoming much more aware of just how many are out there, and the price is becoming a little bit more realistic, you know. There's this capitulation in price right now. I mean, it's grossly off the highs, but there's also a couple other factors that drove these prices high. So let's get into factor number 2, and that is the fact that, you know, the COVID lockdowns shut down America, more or less for 2 years, about 18 months or so. So the COVID lockdown started at the beginning of 2020. And if you actually look back in 2019, when WATA first started bringing their games to market through Heritage Auctions, you didn't really see that many runaway prices. You know, there were a couple big marquee games that sold, but for the most part, we didn't pay over $1,000 for any game in 2019. We didn't pay over $1,000 for any game. 2020, that's when you started seeing prices kind of tick upward, and 2021 is just when they took off. There's another reason for that. We'll get to that in just one moment. But the lockdowns really affected every asset class. You know, you're locking America down for, 18 months or so, more or less. You know, lockdowns kind of, things shut down, then reopen, shut down, reopen. A lot of people are still too afraid to go out. So this really affected people's spending habits. People that used to go to restaurants, out to bars, movie theaters, travel, people that used to spend their money out on goods and services out in the world were now stuck at home. So this money was just kind of accumulating in their bank accounts. We're a nation of consumers. The economy has done a good job of conditioning Americans to be consumers. So we want to consume. After 3 or 4 months of being locked down, you want to do something. You want to participate in society somehow. So all this money started going online, to auction houses, to online retailers. You saw a huge boom. Record sales for these online retailers over this period of time. And the third factor coming in, the government gave trillions of dollars to the American people. So you factor in the people being locked down and their bank accounts going up anyway. They're paying off credit cards, they're saving money. Now they have trillions of dollars of free money from the government. And a lot of you guys don't understand just the impact that free money had on all asset classes, not just collectibles. Look at the stock market, equities, commodities, real estate, car prices, luxury goods. Anything went up from 2021 to the end of 2021. And that 8 to 10 month period there, everything just skyrocketed. And that's because all the free money the government gave. I understand that a lot of people did need assistance during that period of time, so the money did help out a lot of people. But there's a lot of small business owners and a lot of high net worth individuals that owned multiple businesses that were able to get these business loans, and they were shoveling these business loans out to you. It's not necessarily that you requested them. They were being offered to you repeatedly. So a lot of these businesses got these loans, hundreds, if not millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. And a lot of these businesses didn't really need that because they were shut down anyway. They couldn't really reopen. They laid off some of their staff because they were shut down for 6 months, 10 months. So a lot of these business owners use this money to grow their business, buy inventory. Take into account, there are thousands of collectible shops out there, whether it's comic books or video games or pop vinyls, action figures, or coin shops. There's thousands of these shops out there, retail stores, plus the online presences of these stores. All these people were offered free money from the government at 3%, which is pretty much free. I think 3% for 30 years is the term of a lot of those business loans. And these were hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars. So now all these business owners took these loans, and like I said, a lot of them were shut down for a while, and a lot of them didn't have the staff they once had, and a lot of them were raking in sales anyway because they had an online retail presence. You got to take into account that online retailers, if you were a collectible shop online, you were already making a ton of money during this period of time just because people were locked up. They didn't have anywhere to spend their money, so they're spending it with you. You take into account all this free money that the government gave you. Now all these shops and business owners they're already making money, so they're using all this new money to buy inventory. I think, we took out one of the business loans, 3%, 30 years, no prepayment penalty. That's just free money. I think our inventory went up, $5-10 million in value. It was just free money, build your inventory, and people were just buying everything anyway, so it really didn't matter. There was no downside risk. So this is where a lot of the price appreciation came from. All this money out there, and if you're talking about high net worth individuals that own a few small businesses, they took out loans for all those small businesses, and then they pumped that money back into their own personal collections or back into the market, into stocks, like I just mentioned before, stocks, real estate, cars, luxury goods, everything went up. So everybody's feeling rich, everybody's feeling flush, everybody was spending money on collectibles because why not? You buy it today, two weeks later, it's worth twice as much. So everybody was into this market. That was a big driver of these prices also. And when that happens, you also have speculators that run into the market because now, there's no downside risk. You buy something 1 week, by the time you send it in and grade it, 4 months later when you get it back from WATA, it's appreciated 1,000%. So you had a ton of speculators rush in. But this is another factor that I don't think a lot of you guys understand. This is one of the last drivers of the prices during that period of time. There's a lot of high net worth collectors out there that more or less, for ease of conversation, have unlimited funds to put into these items. So there are a lot of high net worth individuals. A lot of these guys we know personally. A lot of them are our clients, and they were paying whatever it cost to own these items. They're buying them out of auction. These guys are spending $5 to $10 million per auction to pick up some of these marquee games. Now, we advise them against this because as populations come out, as the backlog of games that were stuck at WATA and VGA, once those actually start coming back to market, because those companies got just overwhelmed with submissions. So for a while there was a backlog. So there was a big supply constraint also. That just the supply wasn't coming to market. But once that supply unleashed and those companies actually got caught up and that supply started coming out, population reports started going up. A lot of these games these guys bought over 2021, especially for what, $800,000, $900,000, are now selling around $300,000, $400,000. You know, the population reports kind of came out. You see that there's 5, 6, 7 of those games in 9.8 or 9.6. There's not just one. And as time goes on, there'll be more of them. You know, these games, especially Nintendo, and this is one of the things we talk about all the time on this channel. Nintendo games, people bought these games and collected them. There's people that are sitting on a ton of Nintendo games out there, all factory sealed. They just haven't sent them in yet. They're just waiting to see where the market goes. You know, some of these guys are claiming their retirement fund. They'll send them in later on. Some of these people haven't even found them yet. Some people forgot about them. Some people moved out and left them in their mom's house. When they go clean out their mom's house, when their parents pass away, they'll find all these games. There's a ton of Nintendo games out there. Not the same case with a lot of the Atari titles, but you know, Nintendo and on, there's a ton of that material in the market out there. It just hasn't come up, you know, it hasn't hit the population report yet. It hasn't been graded, but it will, and that will have a downward pressure on those prices also. So those were a lot of the drivers that pushed those prices up during that period of time, from more or less beginning of 2020 to the end of 2021. So more or less like 18 to 20 month period of time. Now, once you got to the end of 2021, when things started reopening, everybody started going back out into the world, especially when it turned over to 2022, January, February, people started seeing signs of inflation because of all this free money that was given that we just talked about. Prices are starting to go up, you know, and people are starting to go out again. You could travel, you can go places, hotels are open, restaurants are open, bars are open, theaters are open. People can go back out in the world and enjoy themselves. So everybody just started spending money on services and pleasure, leisure activities instead of collectibles. So that was a big drain of money back out of the collectibles market, which everybody knew was coming. Everybody in this industry knew was coming because, you know, prices don't go up that fast, you know, in such a short period of time and stay there. So we all knew this was coming, and it came hard. People yanked all their money out of the collectibles market, started going out and doing stuff and enjoying life, which, you know, after being locked up for 18 months, that's exactly what people should do, you know, get back out there in the world. So that was one of the drivers that kind of started bringing the prices down. Another one is the speculators. You know, once they see these prices coming down, speculators are in it for the quick buck. They don't really care about video games. They don't care about comics or coins or any of this. They care about making money. So when they see a trend moving upward, they try to jump in, make as much money as they can, and then it starts turning against them, starts going down, they jump out, you know? Fire sale all the inventory, get rid of whatever price because they've already made all their money. And that is another downward pressure. People see prices falling, more people panic, more people start selling. So that is another downward pressure on these. And, you know, once the government gave out all that free money, when they cut off that spigot, no free money out there. So people had to start paying back on some of those loans. People had to start, you know, coming to terms with the fact that all this free money comes with the inflation price tag on the other side. So now they're paying more for other services, you know, the consumer staples, you know, gasoline and food, and all those prices are going up. Of course, inflation also positively affects your assets. You know, those things go up as well. If the inflation drives the price of on everything, the stuff you hold in your inventory, of course, goes up also. Of course, everything else goes up as well. So if you're paying more for everything else, a lot of this stuff here, you know, it becomes stagnant. You'll either have to sell it, you know, to afford your life, or just let it sit there. If you can afford to let it sit there, that's, once again, one of the best things you could do. So after the speculators left, all the free money is cut off, things start reopening. There was another key factor that drove, you know, kind of took a lot of the steam out of the market, kind of drove prices way down, and that is that most of the high net worth individuals or collectors that were really buoying that market. That, you know, there was only about 5 guys. I know a lot of you guys probably don't know this, but there's about 5 guys that really buoyed that market. They were just buying everything they could. They've kind of bought everything they wanted. And there was a couple conglomerates as well, a lot of those fractional trading companies. They were buying a lot of those games as well and selling fractional shares to individuals. That's a story for another video. You know, our opinion on that is, it seems like a house of cards to us, but a lot of people get into that. A lot of people were able to afford fractional shares or something rather than owning it themselves. So those fractional share companies were buying a ton of product during that period of time as well. High net worth individuals were buying it. once they started accumulating all they needed, they stopped buying. And we've talked to a couple of our clients that haven't participated in an auction in 6 or 7 months. And if you got guys that are pumping in millions of dollars per auction, now they stop participating in the auctions. It's left with everyone else just to bid against themselves. And all of a sudden they realize that prices aren't, just going up exponentially. They're able to bid it and win. So next time they bid a little bit less, they win. Next time they might bid a little bit less. There's fewer participants in the market because they see the prices kind of coming down. They also see population reports coming out. It's not as rare as people thought. So all those factors start bringing down the prices of the video games in today's market. Now you got to ask yourself, are those permanent or temporary issues? A lot of those are going to be temporary issues. The market is kind of going back to where it was in 2019. You got to take away 2020 and 21. That was just kind of a hyperbolic move. You just got to shave that off, and kind of, if you go back to 2019 when the games first started coming to market, they were appreciating normally, and then there was a big hyperbolic move or parabolic move there, and now they're kind of back to this level, still higher than 2019, but they're coming back to a more of a realistic level. So you really got to shave off that period of the lockdowns and the free money and the FOMO. And if you shave all that off, you're kind of back to this level here, which is where we are today. So as an asset class or a collectible asset class, video games are here to stay. There's going to be a lot of titles you're going to see start to appreciate from this point going up. But like whenever there's a downturn, whenever there's kind of a market correction, the junk kind of goes to nothing. A lot of the junk titles out there, a rising tide lifts all ships. So during the period where everything was going up, it was pulling up a lot of these like B class or C class titles. And now that all that buoyancy is gone, a lot of those B and C class titles, they're going to fall, they're going to stay down there. They may appreciate, a little bit or stay flat, but a lot of those B and C class titles, some of those are dead. But your premium stuff, the stuff you should be buying anyway for your collection, you will start seeing that stuff moving back up once people start coming back into the market. Once people have fun spending all their money out there doing everything, traveling, going to theaters, movies, restaurants, bars, they're going to come back. They're going to say, you know what? I think I'm going to go back to work on my collection. They're going to start buying things again. So the market will start moving back up, like I said, on a lot of that material. Some of it is dead. You'll just have to accept that. But on the majority of that, though, you will see that stuff ticking back up. A lot of those factors were very temporary, And once you push out the speculators, markets become a lot more efficient in pricing. The market actually gives you a real price. Speculators are not good for the long-term market in any market. So once you flush all those guys out, things get back to normal. Things start appreciating at a normal rate, 5-7% a year. And that's where you want them to be. If you're in it for the long haul, if you're in this to invest, that's what you want. You want 5 to 7 to 10% a year. You don't want 1,000% a year. That's unrealistic. So in our opinion, like I just mentioned, there's nothing wrong with the video game market. There's great video game market. This will move back up just like everything else. Stock market was off 40% off its highs, 30% off its highs. It's already recovered over 20% of that. Real estate came down. It's already reappreciating. Everything moves back up. Collectibles are the same way. You see it with the coin industry. Those prices crashed. They're already back up about 15-20%. You're going to see this with the video games as well. So you just got to hang in there. If you do have inventory, don't fire sale them. They're not going to zero. Just sit on them and hold them. Sometimes the best thing to do is nothing. You sit on them, put them in your closet, look at them again in a couple years. You'd be surprised that they have ticked back upward. Now, if you have the resource to continue to buy into this market, it's a great buyer's market. We've been picking up a ton of material. Like I said, about 50% off what we used to pay for the exact same title, exact same grade. But, dollar cost averaging. We bought a game last year, for instance, at $10,000. Same title, same grade. We bought this year $5,000. That means for those 2 copies, our average price is $7,500. Hopefully we can buy one more copy. There's only 3 in that grade. Hopefully we can buy one more copy, around $4,000 or so. Push that average down a little bit more. And that's what you want to do during these particular movements in the market. Is dollar cost average down if you can. If you already have games in your collection, just sit on them and hang on to them. Don't fire sale them. Everything's going to be all right with this industry. Like I said, there's a lot of money in this, a lot of high net worth individuals into this market already, a lot of companies, a lot of industries into the sealed video games, graded video games. You will see some uptick in this market here very soon, so just hang on to it. If you can buy now, pick up some good games at some low prices. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. Please feel free to drop some comments in the comment section below. Thumbs up if you like this video. And as always, please remember to subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you for joining us here at Certified Collectibles, and we'll see you again next time.